Sense and Sensibility 1995, Titanic 1997, Iris 2001, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind 2004, Little Children 2006. By the middle of the 2000s, if there was anyone who appeared destined to be an Oscar winner, it was Kate Winslet. By age 31, she had already racked up 5 Oscar nominations, and it only seemed a matter of time that with the right project and the right timing, she was going to collect her Academy Award. Going into 2008, it looked like Winslet's moment was finally coming. The question was, which of her 2 end-of-the-year awards-buzzy movies was going to get her the nomination, Revolutionary Road or The Reader? Both were historical dramas, both had award-winning directors at the helm, both had Oscar-nominated actors she was working with, and both were coming out right at the tail end of the year, December 2008. Rarely does an actor get leading roles in 2 prestigious films like these, dropped right in the heart of Oscar season, and as a huge Kate Winslet fan, I was curious to see how it was all going to play out. Her being ignored for both movies seemed all but impossible, but her getting recognized for both movies also appeared out of the question. But again, this was Kate Winslet, one of the most brilliant actors of her generation. Maybe she could make history at the Golden Globes and the Oscars and somehow win prizes for both. Or was the unthinkable going to happen and she was going to cancel herself out? The 2009 award season was a great one to be sure, as I talked about in my last Oscar retrospective video about the Best Actor race between Sean Penn and Mickey Rourke. Those 2 won major prizes at different precursor ceremonies along the way, making the winner at the Oscars kind of a nail-biter up until the end. Of course, Penn ended up winning his second Best Actor Oscar, and Heath Ledger won the Supporting Actor Oscar in a posthumous victory after he swept the season for his iconic turn as the Joker in The Dark Knight. When it came to Best Actress, Kate Winslet did turn out to be the frontrunner throughout the season, winning prizes left and right, but as it turned out, her major flaw was winning awards for both The Reader and Revolutionary Road in different categories, and for a while it wasn't clear which category Winslet was going to be strongest in, Best Actress or Best Supporting Actress. This confusion allowed another person to score a couple of major precursor wins in Best Actress and make us question if Winslet at the Oscars was going to go 0 for 6. The legendary Meryl Streep, like Winslet, also had a remarkable 2008, playing the lead role in the summer blockbuster musical Mamma Mia and playing the lead role in the astonishing end-of-the-year drama Doubt, based on the Pulitzer Prize-winning play. Streep had, of course, won 2 Oscars before, but in early 2009, she was absolutely overdue on her 15th Oscar nomination, not having won the prize since 1983. She had been nominated a whopping 10 times in the previous 2.5 decades without an Oscar victory, and with her incredible year, her amazing performance in Doubt, and her glorious speech at the Screen Actors Guild Awards after she won Best Actress in a Leading Role, Streep had her best chance ever since Sophie's Choice of winning an Academy Award. Was it going to happen? Was she actually going to beat Kate Winslet? In this video, we're talking the extraordinary Best Actress race at the 81st Academy Awards and why Kate Winslet ultimately defeated Meryl Streep. First, let's talk about the nominees. Angelina Jolie received her second Oscar nomination, her first in the Best Actress category, for her emotionally rich turn in Clint Eastwood's Changeling, about a grief-stricken mother who takes on the LAPD when they try to pass off an imposter as her missing child.
I want my son back! Damn you! I want my son back!
This movie had Oscar caliber written all over it, with its historical setting, fall release date, 4-time Academy Award winner Clint Eastwood at the helm, and the Oscar-winning Angelina Jolie in the lead role. She had won her gold trophy 9 years before in the Best Supporting Actress category for Girl Interrupted, and had gone on to appear in major movies like the Tomb Raider films and Mr. and Mrs. Smith. In 2007, she got close to her second Oscar nomination with A Mighty Heart, which got her nominations at Golden Globes, Critics' Choice, and SAG, and then a year later she was back with the box office hit Wanted in the summer and the awards buzzy Changeling in October, which got Jolie in at all 5 of the major precursor ceremonies. But Jolie, I would argue, was in 5th place for the Best Actress Oscar this year, because although she kept showing up everywhere, she wasn't winning anything. Kate Winslet even forgot Jolie was in her Best Actress category at the Golden Globes.
I'm so sorry. Anne, Meryl, Kristen. Oh God, who's the other one? Oh, Angelina. I'm so...
Changeling was a box office disappointment in the US, making $35 million on a $55 million budget, and the reviews were affectionate, if somewhat mixed. Changeling did get 2 other Oscar nominations, Art Direction and Cinematography, as well as 8 nominations at BAFTA, but overall enthusiasm for the movie was kind of muted by the end of awards season, and Jolie, who already had an Oscar, gave the other women in her category pretty much zero competition. Next up is Melissa Leo, who broke into the Best Actress Final 5 with the highly acclaimed independent film Frozen River, about a mother who, in order to make ends meet, turns to smuggling.
I didn't know any other way to keep us together. I mean, he's a good dad when he's not gambling.
I saw Frozen River at the 2008 Los Angeles Film Festival, and I was bowled over by Leo's performance. She is superb in this movie. So real and vulnerable, so conflicted. It's a complex performance of the highest order, and I was so happy after she missed out at the Golden Globes to see her performance start getting recognized at Critics' Choice and SAG. Frozen River is a small film, but it's a great one, and like how Richard Jenkins made it into Best Actor for the indie film The Visitor, Melissa Leo beat out such contenders as Cate Blanchett in The Curious Case of Benjamin Button and Kristen Scott Thomas in I've Loved You So Long to make it into the Oscars. I would put Leo in 4th place in front of Jolie because she did win one major prize that season, Best Actress at the Film Independent Spirit Awards, beating out Michelle Williams for Wendy and Lucy and Anne Hathaway for Rachel Getting Married. Frozen River received one other Oscar nomination, Best Original Screenplay, but this year, Leo's prize was the nomination itself. It would of course be just 2 years later that Leo would win an Oscar in the Best Supporting Actress category for The Fighter.
When I watched Kate 2 years ago, it looked so easy. Oops.
Speaking of Anne Hathaway, she enjoyed a great award season with her terrific leading role in Jonathan Demme's compelling drama, Rachel Getting Married, about a young woman who's been in and out of rehab who attends her sister's wedding.
Did I sacrifice every bit of love in this life because I killed our little brother?
Oh, it was an accident. It was an accident.
Sorry.
Hathaway had started her career as a Disney princess in the 2 Princess Diaries movies, but she made a quick transition into more adult fare, like Brokeback Mountain and The Devil Wears Prada, which started to show more shades of her talent. In 2008, she had her summer comedy Get Smart opposite Steve Carell, and then came her first big swing at the Oscars with Rachel Getting Married, which teamed Hathaway with a stellar cast, including Rosemary DeWitt and Deborah Winger, and gave her a complicated, fascinating character to sink her teeth into. The film did only so-so at the box office, but critics loved it, and from the get-go it was Hathaway who became the face of the film at all the precursor ceremonies except for BAFTA. Hathaway made it in at the Golden Globes, SAG, Independent Spirit, and she won, in a tie with Meryl Streep, the Critics' Choice Award for Best Actress.
As Jenny Lumet, my brilliant screenwriter and Rachel Getting Married would say, I'm so happy my gums are receding.
I think if Rachel Getting Married had received more nominations along the way in other categories, like picture and screenplay, especially at the Oscars, Hathaway would have had a better chance at more wins. She also would have had a pretty good shot if a certain someone had been Oscar nominated in supporting actress instead of lead actress, but more on that in a minute. Let's talk now about Meryl Streep, who I said before was on her 15th Oscar nomination for Doubt, the adaptation of John Patrick Shanley's play about a Catholic school principal who questions a priest's relationship with a troubled young student.
You have no right to step outside the church!
I will step outside the church! If that's what needs to be done, though the door should shut behind me, I will do what needs to be done!
Pretty much everybody believed Meryl Streep was going to win a 3rd Academy Award someday, but the question was, for which role and which movie? Silkwood and Out of Africa came so soon after Sophie's Choice that a 3rd win during the 80s seemed unlikely. In the 90s, I would argue the only good shot Streep had at a win was The Bridges of Madison County, but that was the year Sharon Stone won the Golden Globe for Casino, so well deserved by the way, and Susan Sarandon was overdue for an Oscar win after 4 previous losses, finally getting her gold trophy for Dead Man Walking. I also think Streep had a chance in 2003 for adaptation, winning the Golden Globe, but once Catherine Zeta-Jones showed up in the Best Supporting Actress category for Chicago, Streep's chances quickly dissipated. She got a Best Actress Oscar nomination in 2007 for The Devil Wears Prada, but that was Helen Mirren's moment for the Queen. Pretty much every time Streep had a shot, really, it was someone else's moment. 2009 looked a little different, at least at first. The overdue Winslet on track to win her Oscar in the Supporting Actress category, not Lead Actress, which meant Streep might have finally collected her 3rd Academy Award. But then came the Oscar nominations, and wow, were we in for a big surprise. That surprise, of course, was Kate Winslet being passed over in the Best Supporting Actress category completely and being nominated instead in Lead Actress for The Reader. Winslet's quest for an Oscar win had been a long time coming. After making an astonishing debut in Peter Jackson's Heavenly Creatures in 1994, she went on to receive 5 Oscar nominations in just a little more than a decade for Sense and Sensibility, Titanic, Iris, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and Little Children. I would argue the only year she had a chance in actually winning was 1996, her first nomination for Sense and Sensibility, for which she won the SAG Award, but Mira Sorvino ended up taking that Oscar for Mighty Aphrodite, and then Winslet, throughout the years, had to remain in her seat time and time again, watching Helen Hunt, and Jennifer Connelly, and Hilary Swank, and Helen Mirren take the prize instead of her. In early 2009, it looked like she might finally have a chance at an Oscar victory in Best Supporting Actress for The Reader. So then why the hell did Winslet get nominated in Lead Actress for a movie she'd been winning awards for all season in Supporting Actress? Well, as we continue to talk Meryl Streep versus Kate Winslet, let's go back to the 66 Golden Globe Awards on January 11, 2009. How were the Best Actress and Best Supporting Actress categories going to shake out? Going into the night at the Golden Globes, it was a near certainty that Winslet was going to win Best Supporting Actress for The Reader, about an older woman who has an affair with a younger man in World War II Germany, and how a decade later, he re-encounters her as she defends herself in a war crime trial.
There were new arrivals. New women were arriving all the time, so the old ones had to make room for the new ones.
Let's face it, Holocaust dramas often do very well in award season. Think Schindler's List and The Pianist. Hell, Winslet even joked about doing a Holocaust movie to win an Oscar on the TV series comedy Extras.
No, I'm doing it because I've noticed that if you do a film about the Holocaust, guaranteed an Oscar. I've been nominated 4 times, never won. And the whole world is going, why hasn't Winslet won one?
Ricky Gervais, who was hosting the Golden Globes that night, reminded Winslet of the bit.
Well done, Winslet. I told ya, do a Holocaust movie, the awards come, didn't I?
Also, the reviews for The Reader were very strong upon its release, and with Harvey Weinstein and company backing the film, you could bet in early 2009 that the movie was going to do very well. Not necessarily for wins in categories like Best Picture or Best Director, but Kate Winslet was a shoo-in for Best Supporting Actress, given her large amount of screen time in the movie, as well as her overdue factor. She hadn't ever won a Golden Globe before, despite numerous nominations, but here at last was her victory, her speech a great one.
Stephen Daldry, I loved every second of working with you. I really did. Thank you for believing in me. I'm in shock.
Later in the night, we arrived at Best Actress in a Motion Picture Drama, which looked like it would go to either Anne Hathaway for Rachel Getting Married, or, most likely, Meryl Streep for Doubt. Streep, like Winslet, was up for 2 awards that night, and she had lost Best Actress in a Comedy or Musical for Mamma Mia to Sally Hawkins for Happy Go Lucky. The Hollywood foreign press loved their Meryl Streep. She had won for Adaptation in 2003, and for The Devil Wears Prada in 2007, one of my favorite Streep speeches ever.
It's amazing how much you can get if you quietly, clearly, and authoritatively demand it. That's all.
Streep winning for Doubt seemed pretty likely. I mean, they weren't going to give Kate Winslet a second trophy in the same night, right? Winslet, of course, at the Golden Globes was up for not only The Reader and Supporting Actress, but also Lead Actress in a motion picture drama for Revolutionary Road, about a young couple in mid-1950s Connecticut struggling in their relationship as they raised their kids.
And you know what's so good about the truth? Everyone knows what it is, however long they've lived without it. No one forgets the truth, Frank. They just get better at lying.
Winslet's team didn't want her competing with herself, obviously, so they decided to campaign her in lead actress for Revolutionary Road and supporting actress for The Reader. The problem was it was almost unheard of for someone to win 2 acting awards for 2 different movies in the same night, so most assumed the Golden Globe win for Winslet would be supporting actress for The Reader. Just getting the nomination for Revolutionary Road seemed to be the victory itself, but then Cameron Diaz opened the envelope and said this.
Kate Winslet.
I remember jumping up and screaming that night. One of my favorite actresses, Kate Winslet, who'd gone more than a decade never winning a Golden Globe, had just taken both Best Actress in a Drama and Best Supporting Actress in a single night. And my favorite of her 2 films that year easily was Revolutionary Road, so I was excited to see her win a major prize for that. As a huge Titanic fan, also, I was moved by Winslet's words to her Revolutionary Road co-star.
Well done, Leo. I'm so happy I can stand here and tell you how much I love you and how much I've loved you for 13 years.
And it was just a thrill to see Winslet up on stage twice, finally taking home some trophies. I remember thinking it at the time, like, can she do it? Can Kate Winslet actually win both supporting actress and lead actress at the Oscars? The precursor ceremonies that followed put an end to that speculation very quickly. Winslet won Best Supporting Actress for The Reader at both Critics' Choice and SAG, but not Best Actress for Revolutionary Road. I think most voters thought 2 prizes for Winslet was overkill, no matter how much we love her and how deserving she was for stellar work in 2 2008 films. The groups decided, at least for a while, we'll give her trophies in supporting actress, but lead actress would go to someone else. At Critics' Choice, Anne Hathaway and Meryl Streep tied for Best Actress, and at SAG, Streep took the prize all by herself and gave a phenomenal speech that brought the house down.
Well, I didn't even buy a dress. I'm really shocked. And even though awards mean nothing to me anymore, I'm really happy.
It was Streep's win and speech at SAG that made me think Streep might finally win her 3rd Oscar, and boy, was I a happy gay at the time. 2 of my 3 favorite actresses, Kate Winslet and Meryl Streep, weeks away from both winning Academy Awards on the same frickin' night. I was giddy on Oscar nominations morning, so excited to see both their faces on the screen, but that giddiness left pretty quickly once we got to the first category, Best Supporting Actress. The insane confusion, and shall I say it, doubt, set in when Sid Ganis read off the 5 nominees in the category and Winslet wasn't there. What the hell? My mind was spinning. Where was Winslet? After receiving 5 Oscar nominations in the past and winning basically everything all season for The Reader, how were they possibly going to overlook her? But then we got to Best Actress, where Meryl Streep got her expected nomination for Doubt. When Ganis read the final name as Kate Winslet, I jumped for joy, thinking she'd been nominated for the film I like more, Revolutionary Road, but then he said The Reader. More confusion set in. I was baffled beyond belief. Winslet was nominated in lead actress for The Reader? What? Well, as it turns out, if you didn't know, the Academy is allowed to put you in any category they want. Even if you campaign the entire season for Best Supporting Actress, even if you win every trophy known to man in that category, the Academy has the right to nominate you in lead actress if they feel that category is more appropriate. It happened just recently in 2021 when Lakeith Stanfield was campaigned all season for lead actor in Judas and the Black Messiah, but ended up with that shocker nomination at the Oscars in supporting actor instead. It's rare, but it does happen. What's really interesting about Winslet's Best Actress nomination for The Reader is that no actor is allowed to be nominated in the same category for 2 different performances. So it's possible Winslet's performance in Revolutionary Road got enough votes to be in the Best Actress Final 5, but had to be omitted due to Academy regulations. At the end of the day, her performance in The Reader got more votes, and that's the performance that made it in at the Oscars. I think a big reason for this is that The Reader did much better at the end of the award season than Revolutionary Road, which by February was fading fast as The Reader kept gaining in strength. Part of that was the Harvey Weinstein factor, the man who once had the power and the marketing budget to get lots of his year-end releases into the Oscar race. It was also because most critics and audiences just preferred the compelling Holocaust narrative of The Reader over the cold, downbeat suburban drama narrative of Revolutionary Road. At BAFTA, Winslet was nominated in lead actress for both The Reader and Revolutionary Road, but by then The Reader had pulled ahead, and so if Streep wasn't going to win, Winslet was going to take lead actress for The Reader, which she did, and gave another fantastic speech.
And I want to share this with two of our producers on this film. I know I'm not alone when I say I can't believe they're no longer with us. Anthony Minghella and Sidney Pollack. You are much missed today, and you will be much missed for many years to come, and this is for you. Thank you.
Still, as we arrived to Academy Awards night, it wasn't 100% certain that Winslet had the Oscar in the bag. Remember, in lead actress, she won at BAFTA for The Reader and at the Golden Globes for Revolutionary Road. At Critics' Choice, Hathaway and Streep tied, and at SAG, Streep won. Throw in Melissa Leo's win at the Film Independent Spirit Awards, and you've got full-on confusion. I'm convinced there might have been some Academy members who voted for Streep for the Best Actress Oscar just because the Winslet situation had become so complicated and frustrating. She was on her way to winning Best Supporting Actress for The Reader, but then that narrative got flipped halfway through the game, leaving, by the way, Best Supporting Actress at BAFTA and the Oscars totally wide open. Who ended up winning there? The great Penelope Cruz, of course, for her spectacular performance in Vicky Cristina Barcelona. If you're interested in learning more about Cruz's Oscar win, as well as her Oscar nominations before and since, head on over to the Brian Rowe Video Patreon at patreon.com/BrianRoweVideo for a brand new exclusive video all about the Best Supporting Actress race of 2009 and Cruz's first, and to date only, Oscar victory. The 81st Academy Awards was a fantastic ceremony, my favorite modern Oscars telecast ever, even though on the night, I was a bundle of nerves by the time we got to the Best Actress category. I had a feeling after everything was said and done that Kate Winslet was going to win. She was the most overdue that night, on her 6th nomination without a victory, but again, Streep gave a great speech at SAG. Her performance in Doubt is one of her very best. She hadn't won an Oscar since 1983. She had a significant shot too. I loved how 5 previous Best Actress winners were brought on stage together to celebrate that year's nominees. Marion Cotillard saying this about Kate Winslet.
This is yet another unforgettable portrait from one of our most gifted actresses and one of our most inspiring. Thank you.
And then the iconic Sophia Loren said this about Meryl Streep.
Her name itself has come to represent a whole world of unmatched excellence, so it's probably best to simply start there. Meryl Streep.
At long last, after the 5 wonderful speeches, Cotillard, who won the trophy the year before for La Vie en Rose, finally opened the envelope for Best Actress and said this.
Kate Winslet in The Reader.
The 2009 award season had been a uniquely crazy one for Kate Winslet, with more highs than lows to be sure, and thankfully it ended with her big Oscar victory. So why did Kate Winslet beat Meryl Streep for Best Actress at the Academy Awards? Here are the top 5 reasons. The first and most important reason is that Streep already had 2 Oscars, which, unless you're Frances McDormand, makes it really hard to win a third. I often hear people saying the Oscars don't care about narrative as much as other award shows do, but I do think when people are voting, they consider who's won the gold trophy before and who hasn't. Streep's 2 wins at the beginning of her career are partly what made it so difficult for her to win another one for decades. Even in 2012, when I would argue Viola Davis came very close to taking the Academy Award for The Help, after she won at SAG and gave a phenomenal speech. Meryl Streep versus Viola Davis, by the way, is a Best Actress race I will definitely get to. Although it had been a long time since her Sophie's Choice victory, even in 2009 there was the thinking that Streep had already been compensated with a couple of Oscars, and so voters didn't have to necessarily give her a third. The second reason is that The Reader did much better at the Oscars than Doubt did. Many like myself expected The Dark Knight to show up on Oscar nominations morning in Best Director and Best Picture, but The Reader took the comic book movie's place. Stephen Daldry getting in, his third Oscar nomination in a row, by the way, for Best Director, quite the feat. And with just 5 Best Picture nominees back in 2009, The Reader was the surprise inclusion. The film received 5 Oscar nominations total, also getting into Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Cinematography, and of course, Best Actress. Doubt did well in the acting categories, getting not only the Best Actress nod for Streep, but also the nods for Philip Seymour Hoffman in Best Supporting Actor, and both Amy Adams and Viola Davis in Best Supporting Actress. It also received a Best Adapted Screenplay nomination for John Patrick Shanley, but it didn't make it into Best Director or Best Picture, which hurt Streep's chances in the long run. If Doubt had made it into Picture, let's say, and The Reader hadn't, Streep could have won. She could have overtaken Winslet, but The Reader appearing in Director and especially Picture showed growing enthusiasm for the movie as the award season continued on, and so Winslet was able to ride that enthusiasm all the way to the Oscar stage. The third reason Kate Winslet won the Oscar that year is that she took home more prizes throughout the season than Streep did. Yes, the trophies themselves were a bit all over the place. Best Supporting Actress for The Reader at SAG, Best Actress for Revolutionary Road at the Golden Globes, Best Actress for The Reader at BAFTA, but all those trophies Winslet netted meant that a loss at the Oscars would have felt really weird, especially given she was on her 6th nomination and had never won. Streep had that one terrific Best Actress win at SAG, but if Winslet had been nominated in that category for The Reader instead of Supporting Actress, Winslet probably would have won over Streep. So despite the momentum shifting to Streep briefly, the BAFTA win for Winslet pretty much cemented the fact that, yeah, she was going to win the Oscar too.
I feel like thank God for Meryl, because there are women of my generation and a generation coming up behind my generation who look up to her. We really look to her and are continually inspired by her.
The fourth reason is that Winslet had 2 extraordinary dramatic performances in year-end release movies, and that might have tipped the vote in her favor as well. It was probably a relief for many Academy members that they didn't have to pick between the 2 performances and could just vote for Winslet for one film in one category. And I do think some voters might have been so impressed with her roles in both The Reader and Revolutionary Road that they decided to vote for her on the merit of both performances, not only the work she did in The Reader. As I said before, I prefer her devastating turn in Revolutionary Road, but I'm not one to complain that Winslet still managed to take the gold trophy for what was one of her most remarkable years ever in film. The fifth and final reason is that Kate Winslet was one of the greatest working actors in 2009 who still didn't have an Academy Award, and this was, quite simply, her moment. I do think Winslet having been nominated so often the previous 13 years really shoved the narrative down voters' throats that it was seriously time to finally reward the woman. We weren't going to let Winslet lose an Oscar on her 6th try for a movie she'd already won a bunch of trophies for, including BAFTA, a movie that had gotten into both Best Picture and Best Director. Everything lined up perfectly. Revolutionary Road no longer in the way, her most formidable competitor Meryl Streep not quite strong enough to snatch that victory away from Winslet. And so, the one and only Kate Winslet finally won her Academy Award. Her speech to this day is one of my all-time favorites. I especially love the line about Streep at the end.
I think we all can't believe we were in a category with Meryl Streep at all. I'm sorry, Meryl, but you have to just suck that up.
It's crazy to think Winslet has only received 1 Oscar nomination since her win in 2009 in the Best Supporting Actress category for Steve Jobs, but Streep's been there multiple times since, including just 1 year later, when she had a significant shot of winning again on her 16th nomination for her lovely, memorable performance as Julia Child in Julie and Julia, directed by Nora Ephron. There was only one actress who could stop her, my #1 favorite actress of all time, who became the award season frontrunner for her acclaimed turn in The Blind Side. Yep, it's happening. Since I started this YouTube channel in 2021, this is the video I've been the most excited to make. And it's finally almost here. Next month, we're talking the fascinating Best Actress race of 2010, Meryl Streep versus Sandra Bullock. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to join my Patreon to see that exclusive new video about the Best Supporting Actress race of 2009 and Penelope Cruz's Oscar win for Vicky Cristina Barcelona. We'll see you next time.